Everybody and their mama is selling raw hair. So who actually is? This is Wig 101 and we're talking hair quality. With raw hair, it's very simple. If you have a bundle of raw hair, that hair should have only come from one donor, one person. And usually this person has grown their hair knowing that they are going to be a donor, they're going to sell their hair down the road. They take really good care of it. Just making sure that when it gets to whoever's buying it, it's top notch. One of the main things I noticed with raw hair is when you shake it, it just moves different. I had a sew-in earlier this year and I used raw hair bundles. It was just gorgeous and it blended with my hair so well. Sometimes when you buy virgin bundles, because they've processed it a little bit, it's too silky, it's slippy. And so even if you have a silk press and you're trying to blend that in with your hair, the texture doesn't match. Not because it shouldn't, but because they've put something on the hair that makes it so it won't. And of course, all hair textures are different, but whether you have 4C hair or 3B hair, whatever it is, and you get that good silk press, it should still blend with raw bundles. Like I said before, raw hair comes from one donor, and the only way that you should be receiving it is when it's cut off their head and they sew it onto the weft, and they'll probably wash it or sterilize it, but then they package it off and send it to you. That's the only way you should be receiving raw hair. It's not gonna have textures. It's not gonna be curly, it's not gonna be wavy, it's not gonna be anything but how it was on that person's head. Sometimes actually you can get raw hair with a little bit of a wave, but it's most certainly not gonna be curly unless that donor has naturally curly hair. One of the best things about raw hair is how light it can bleach. You can definitely get that platinum, bright, white, blonde hair. If you've ever gotten a 613 bundle, usually they bleach that from raw hair because there's really no way to get that 613, you know, that bright blonde color on virgin hair because it just will not go that light. And then you have virgin hair, which still can be quite good quality, but the way it's collected and processed is different. With virgin hair, it's gonna come from more than one donor. It could come from 3 donors, 4. There's really no telling how many different pieces of hair are all kind of like smushed into that bundle. And that's why virgin hair is cheaper, because the process of making those bundles isn't as rigorous, or, you know, it's just not as serious. They're collecting different this, that hair, and they're putting it together. It doesn't take as much effort and is not as expensive to source as raw hair. Nowadays, you can get a bunch of different hair textures, pretty much anything you want, any kind of wave or curl. When they make these textures with virgin hair, they use a lot of steam just to get it to, you know, stay in that shape even when you wash it. That's where the processing comes in. And then after they do the steam, they put like a shiny top coat kind of thing on it to keep it shiny, because when you're collecting hair from different sources, it's not all gonna look the same. Think about it this way: if you line up 3 people that all have visually, like say wavy hair, it looks like their hair is all the same, but it might not be. One of them might have thicker strands, someone else has thinner strands. For one person, they have to treat their hair a certain way, or, you know, it's all gonna kick off. Everyone's hair acts differently, so when you're putting the hair of multiple donors into one bundle, you have to find a way to make it uniform. And so that's what that shiny coat does, as well as the steam. It makes it look more cohesive, rather than, oh, this is like 3 or 4 different people's hair in this one bundle and I can tell. That's just what they do to make it more marketable and to make it look higher quality. Don't let them fool you with this whole hair grading system. I have had bundles that are 9A, 10A, 11A, 12A, and they all act the same. This whole grading system is not real. It's completely made up. This year we're on 15A hair, but it acts exactly the same as 10A hair, which was the best like a few years back. It's just something they're using to say, oh, this is the best, you know, like, get this hair, it's the best virgin hair, but It really hasn't changed. It's all the same. When you hear those hair grades, just let it go in one ear and come out the other, because it doesn't matter. The only things that matter are how consistent the bundles are, the thickness of the hair strands, the hair quality itself, but most importantly is how it bleaches. Bleach never lies. When I'm testing hair, when I'm testing bundles, the first thing I reach for is my bleach and developer, because that is pretty much the only thing that's gonna tell me the truth. Vendors will lie, these companies will lie. Bleach is not a liar. Now, I do want to look at this chart that delves a little deeper into hair science, because I really want you to see a visual representation of how the quality of hair you buy really influences the color, what you can get, what you can't get, what you can and can't do. This graph right here, level 5 and level 6, this is usually what you can get out of beauty supply hair, like pack hair, right? If you were to ever dye that or bleach it, this is probably the most you could get from it, because it's not usually virgin hair, it's usually Remy hair, which is an even lower quality, even more product on it, that shine, you know, a little more processed. Now with virgin hair, this level 7 is probably the highest you're gonna get, right? So it says here the dominant pigment is orange. It can be neutralized by blue, which is why when you're bleaching knots and if it comes out too orange, they say to use a blue based toner, because it can neutralize those brassy tones. So level 8, 9 and 10, these are all the lifts you can get with raw hair. And again, it's going to depend on how light you want to go. You can get to level 10, that's if you want that white sort of platinum hair. But if you want more of a tame blonde, or if you're just trying to bleach your knots, then level 8 should be good enough for that. I want to show you how I perform a strand test on hair, and I really just do this to see really the quality of the hair, how high it will lift, and just how it will act in general. Let's go do that. This is a virgin hair wig, and to be honest, this is a kind of wig that most of us are gonna come across when purchasing. For the strand test, I use a 1-to-1 ratio of bleach and developer. I used a bleach that lifts to level 8. Don't do that, don't be like me. So yeah, I used a bleach that lifts to level 8, and then I used a 40 volume developer. That way I can really get the strongest kind of concentration of bleach. I said this in my first video, but I'll say it again. A lot of these wig companies use a different quality of hair in the back of the wig where the wefts are than they do in the front of the wig where the knots are and where it's more so attached to the lace. So for this, I am going to do 2 strand tests. This first one I'm doing here is at the back where the wefts are connected, and then the next one is going to be at the front where the lace is. As you can see, to do this test, I do lay the hair down on a piece of foil, and then I just make sure it's spread very evenly, no hair left behind, every single strand here is covered. And I use foil for 2 reasons. One is so the bleach won't dry out. Once bleach is dry, it no longer is processing. And 2, foil traps heat, and so it allows the hair to process evenly and a little bit quicker because it's giving it some warmth. This is the piece of hair that is attached to the lace, and this is the piece that is attached to the weft in the back. Now, as we can see, these are 2 completely different colors, and this is why it is so important to strand test. I want us to go back to the chart we were looking at before. So the piece on the left, which is the lace piece, I want to be generous and say it's a level 8, but it kind of looks more like a level 7, somewhere in between there. And then the same for the piece on the right, which is the one attached to the weft. That's somewhere between a level 7 and a level 6. So yes, we definitely know this is virgin hair. The piece that got lighter is probably less processed than the other, but we can see what we're working with. At least we'll be able to bleach the knots. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss anything coming up. Next, we're going to be bleaching knots, like for real. If you've ever struggled with bleaching your knots, those days are about to be over. Yes, they are. If you care about having more good hair days, I will see you in the next video.